You're never going to get enough. You already are everything. You're everything that you need. Think of it for just a moment. Everything that you need to have total bliss, perfection of your life, you already are. You already have it. You came into this world with nothing. That's how you're going out. And the time that you have here, what you have is your uniqueness, your specialness, and you don't need anything else. Now think on this. If you don't know how to appreciate what you have and where you are in your life, you don't need anything else. Because if you do get something else, you won't know how to appreciate that either. You'll just want more. Or you'll want it to be different. Or you'll want it to be the way it used to be. Or you'll want someone else to be the way you think they should be. Successful people or no-limit people or self-actualizing people or inner-directed people, whatever labels that have been put on them by great thinkers and philosophers and therapists and people that have looked at human beings, these kinds of people are people who always have enough. There are some people, if you invite them over and you say, I'd like you to come over tonight, and I'd like you to stay over if you can, instead of having to drive back. And they'll say, well, can you stay? And I say, well, I don't know if I can stay or not. Well, you could sleep on the cot. Oh, no, I could never sleep on the cot. I can't sleep on cots. I got a sciatica. Don't you know that I have back pain and cots? No, that's out of the question. I couldn't sleep on a cot. And what about breakfast? Well, we don't have any food, but we have some old grapefruit that are in the refrigerator. They have a few spots on them. Oh, no, I could never eat grapefruit. And spots? No, thanks. I can't eat grapefruit spots. I just couldn't do that. And these are people who never have enough. They are not able to be flexible and to change. And there are other people, if you say, would you like to sleep over? We got a place in the sewer. Hey, that'd be great. I can handle that. No problem. I slept there before. It's all right. And all we have is grapefruit. Oh, I love grapefruit. Well, there's got spots on them. Oh, I really like grapefruit spots. Those are terrific. I'll go for those. There are some people who can handle anything, not because their circumstances are different. You see, your circumstances have very little to do with your fulfillment in life. Very little. It's how you're approaching your circumstances. It's your attitude towards your circumstances that make all the difference in the world. And taking what you are and accepting it. Daughter helped me with being bald a long time ago. She said, Dad, you're not really bald. Don't think of yourself that way. She said, you're just about this much taller than your hair. That's all. Just sort of a nice way to look at it, too. I just sort of outgrew my hair. I sort of transcended my hair, if you will. All right? No-limit people are human beings who take what they are and accept it, and don't tell themselves that somehow they're deficient because of anything about themselves. This is a very crucial concept for me and for virtually all of us. It's this idea of taking your life in your own hands and being the kind of person that you choose to be, and understanding that everything that comes your way is an opportunity, is a blessing. And it wasn't until I learned how to celebrate virtually everything that came my way that I was able to transcend it. You see, everything that was given to us by God, whatever that is perfect. No one can deny the mountains are perfect and the rivers are perfect and the birds are perfect and the hippopotamuses are perfect and so on. This is just what was given to us. Everything else that you have on our planet, that we have on our planet, comes about as a result of thinking. Thought makes it so. All right? This microphone comes about as a result of thinking. Somebody imagines it. Somebody then tells somebody else about it, and it creates it. The dress that you're wearing, this shirt that I'm wearing, the shoes that you have, the stage, these cameras. Everything that you see that wasn't given to us was created by man as a result of the way that we think, So what gets inside of us as a cell comes about as a result of the way that we choose to think in our lives. Very important principle to understand, because once you get a hold of thinking and that it creates everything that you have in your life, you can change and make it as absolutely perfect as you want it to be, because thought makes it so. Find joy in every moment that you have in your life instead of always looking for it. It means that while you are driving along the countryside, and seeing, instead of saying, I'm on my way to this point, that you can open your eyes and see it with new eyes. See the rolling mountains, see the grass, see the deer, see the sky. You can just stop wherever you are in this second, wherever you are, and just look around you, and you can begin to appreciate just your surroundings and your environment. Then you can begin to appreciate the people that are in your life, and even the ones that are negative and you're having the most difficulty with. You can practice a new way of being with them, which is sending them love, sending them flowers, send them books, send them a tape, send them something, and just see what kind of reaction that you get. Super emotional health is just an attitude. An attitude is everything.
9th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Quote, "To keep on filling is not as good as stopping. Overfilled, the cupped hands drip. Better to stop pouring. Sharpen a blade too much, and its edge will soon be lost. Fill your house with jade and gold, and it brings insecurity. Puff yourself with honor and pride, and no one can save you from a fall. Retire when the work is done. This is the way of heaven." Unquote. Living humility. As the eternal Tao is in a continuous state of creating, it knows precisely when enough is enough. Deep within ourselves, we sense that this organizing principle of unconditional supply knows when to stop, so we don't need to question the qualities that the Tao brings forth. The creative source is beautifully balanced in the principle of humility, elucidated in this 9th verse of the Tao Te Ching. The Tao has the capability to generate everything in amounts that would stupefy an observer, yet its gentle humility seems to know when there are enough trees, flowers and bees and hippos and every other living thing. Excess is eschewed by the Tao. It doesn't need to show off its unlimited capacity for creating. It knows exactly when to stop. This verse invites us to be in spiritual rapport with this profound characteristic of the Tao. Cramming life with possessions, pleasures, pride, and activities when we're obviously reached a point where more is less indicates being in harmony with ego, not the Tao. Living humility knows when to just stop, to let go and enjoy the fruits of our labor. This verse clearly analogizes that the purpose of more status, more money, more power, more approval, more stuff is as foolish as honing a carving knife after it's reached its zenith of sharpness. Obviously, to continue would just create dullness, and it is obvious that a keen edge represents perfection. Lao Tzu advises us to be careful about amassing great wealth and storing it away. This practice contributes to a life spent keeping our fortune safe and insured, while at the same time always feeling the need to pursue more. He counsels us to be satisfied at a level that fosters living with humility. If wealth and fame are desired, we must know when to retire from the treadmill and be like the Tao. This is the way of heaven, as opposed to the world that we live in, which is addicted to more. We can heighten our awareness that advertising is primarily designed to sell products and services by convincing us that we need something in order to be happy. Analysts might tell us that the economy is failing if it isn't continuously growing. But we can realize that excessive growth, like cancer, will ultimately destroy itself. We can witness the results of overproduction in the gridlock on most highways. It now takes longer to go from one side of London to the other than it did before the invention of the automobile. We also see this principle at work whenever we shop. I call it choice overload. Pain pills for backaches, menstrual cramps, headaches, joint pains in the morning or at night in a capsule or liquid or a powder. And this is true whether we're purchasing toilet paper, orange juice, or anything else. I believe that Lao Tzu sends the following modern advice from his ancient perspective. First, come to grips with the radical concept of enough is enough. Make this commitment, even though you live in a world addicted to the idea that one can never have enough of anything. To paraphrase Lao Tzu, do your work and then step back. Practice humility rather than ostentation and uncontrolled consumption. The obesity crisis in the Western world, particularly in America, is a direct result of not understanding and living the simple wisdom of this 9th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Eat, but stop when you're full. To continue stuffing food into a satiated body is to be trapped into believing that more of something is the cause of your happiness. And this is true of overly filling yourself with any artificial symbol of success. Think instead of the infinite wisdom of the Tao, which says, to keep on filling is not as good as stopping. Enough is not only enough, it is in alignment with the perfection of the eternal Tao. And secondly, seek the joy in your activities rather than focusing on ego's agenda. Ego wants you to gather more and more rewards for your actions. If you're in a state of loving appreciation in each of your present moments, you're letting go of the absurd idea that you're here to accumulate rewards and merit badges for your efforts. Seek the pleasure in what you're doing rather than how it might ultimately benefit you. Begin to trust in that infinite wisdom that birthed you into this material world. After all, it knew the exact timing of your arrival here. It didn't say, if 9 months will create such a beautiful baby, I'm going to extend the gestation period to 5 years. Now we'll have an even more perfect creation. No, the Tao says that 9 months is perfect. That's what you get, and you don't need any more. The next time you're mired in a decision for more, stop and think of the Tao. This creation principle fully grasps the idea that when the work is done, then for God's sake it's time to stop. As Lao Tzu advises, this is the way of heaven. Why ever choose to be in conflict with that? Do the Tao now. The last 5 minutes of your day before you enter into your sleep state are the most important 5 minutes of your day if you're going to begin living a wishes-fulfilled life. In this brief portion of your day, you're going to tell your subconscious mind how you feel and what wishes God, the universal one subconscious mind, is to fulfill upon awakening from your deep slumber. This 5-minute segment of time in your bed, about to enter into your subconscious and marinate for the next 8 hours or so, is the most crucial segment of your entire 24-hour day. You can use this time in one of two ways. Let me explain them both to you, and then you can decide which one you choose to adopt for yourself, keeping in mind that what you impress upon your subconscious mind is what the universal one subconscious mind will offer you in your waking hours. Your subconscious mind is indifferent to what you want or what is best for you. It cannot make a distinction between what you are feeling as a result of all that happens to you throughout your waking hours, or what you feel as a result of what you are imagining for yourself as having already transpired while you are in bed preparing to doze off to sleep. Number 1, choosing to review the day's frustrations and disappointments. As you lie in bed, you can use this time prior to entering your subconscious mind to review everything that transpired throughout the day that caused you to feel unhappy, dejected, frustrated, angry, and so on. You can think sad thoughts about all of the people who disappointed you and review in your imagination via your inner dialogue with yourself how unhappy all of that made you. You can spend these critical moments worrying about all of the things that didn't work out the way you wanted them to, and projecting onto your subconscious mind evidence for things continuing to transpire in the same way that they always have. You can go over the argument you had with others and conclude that these people really do make you unhappy. You can use your mind to relive how fearful you are that things are not going to improve. You can even predict that a great calamity is about to befall you and your family, and there's nothing to be done to stave it off. You can picture in your mind the worst possible outcome concerning your own health or the health of a loved one. You can imagine yourself filing for bankruptcy or not getting the job you desire, or a natural disaster striking you, or you feeling even sicker when you awaken. The potential disasters that you can entertain with your thoughts as you prepare to go to sleep could fill the next 100 or so pages of this book I'm reading. Whatever you opt for, such as these examples of thoughts that make you feel bad, is a choice to send those messages to your subconscious just as you are about to go to sleep. In effect, you are imprinting your subconscious mind with, I am unhappy, I am frustrated, I am pessimistic, I am afraid, and so on. Your subconscious mind, unable to distinguish between what you are telling it through your pre-sleep conditioning ritual and what is actually happening in your everyday world, says to you, okay, I've got it. I got it. Your thoughts are on what you do not want and what you despise, and your feelings in your body bring you worry, fear, anxiety, hate, sadness, and the like. Your subconscious mind responds with no desire to change your conscious waking state because it only reacts to what you place there. So it will proceed to offer you experiences from the universal one subconscious mind that aligns with what you've programmed it to do. If you decide you do not want to go to sleep with the first choice in your consciousness, you can develop a new habit for your habitual mind to latch onto. You do have an alternative. Those last 5 minutes of the day are your 5 minutes, and they're yours alone. Consider the second option, using your last waking moments before sleep, programming your subconscious mind in a new way. And this is the second choice, number 2. Choosing to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. As you lie in bed, feeling drowsy and knowing that you're about to go to sleep, where your subconscious mind is most at home, use these final pre-slumber moments to align with your source of being and become a wishes-fulfilled spiritual being. In these pre-sleep moments, you can program your subconscious mind to automatically present you with fulfilled wishes. These last 5 minutes awake, then, are your final pep talk to your subconscious mind. You want to focus on assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled that you've placed into your imagination. Here's what Neville offers on this topic. It may be the most valuable information you've ever received in your life. Quote, "The feeling which comes in response to the question, how would I feel were my wish realized, is the feeling which should monopolize and immobilize your attention as you relax into sleep. You must be in the consciousness of being or having that which you want to be or have done before you drop off to sleep." Unquote. So this is what you must ask yourself as you get closer and closer to dropping off into the unconsciousness of sleep. If my wishes were realized, how would it feel right here, right now in my body? Stay with that thought until you begin to feel your body shift into what that feels like. At first, you will be calling upon your ego, which believes that it is separate from God or the universal source of all. And an inner voice will say, "This is silly. I am sick, I am sore, I am dying, and I am only fooling myself." So simply dismiss these mind viruses and conditioned memes, since you are free to use these 5 minutes in any way that you choose. Repeat a new I am that shifts you to the state of the realized wish. Repeatedly tell yourself that I am God in action, and immediately check in with your body to feel the shift from fear and anxiety to peace, love, and contentment. After a little practice, you will find this repeating I am in your mind begins to impact how you are feeling. Sensations of worry and pain slowly dissolve as you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And it is at this point that you allow yourself to drop off to sleep. Use these precious pre-sleep moments to assume the feeling in your body of whatever wishes you desire as already fulfilled. You could contemplate my favorite quotation from Saint Germain in the I Am Discourses. Quote, "I want so much to have you feel that you are the only authority in this world, or any other. So far as your world is concerned, do not ever fear that the perfecting of your world is going to disfigure anyone else's world, so long as your intent is not to harm anyone. It does not matter what the world about you says, or how much they try to intrude upon you their doubts, their fears, and their limitations. You are the supreme authority in your world, and all you have to do is say, when you are beset by these conditions, I am the mighty magic circle of protection about me that is invincible and repels from me every discordant thought and element which seeks to find entrances or intrude itself. I am the perfection of my world, and it is self-sustained." Unquote. Does it feel natural? There will be times when you doubt your ability to attract into life the successful fulfillment of your wishes, including the ideal person you would like to be. I'm addressing this question from the position of the overly conditioned ego that's been trained to believe it's preposterous to think you can become what you would like to be by simply assuming the feeling in your body of your wishes being fulfilled. Neville alerts you to this disruptive influence with these words, quote, "The time it takes your assumption to become fact, your desire to be fulfilled is directly proportionate to the naturalness of your feeling of already being what you want to be, of already having what you desire. Think about what you plan to manifest. Then use your imagination to feel what that feels like in your body. Does it feel natural to you? I mean, does it really feel like this is the you that you are deciding to be? If you've been sickly for most of your life and you are assuming the feeling of a healthy body, does it feel natural to see yourself as a picture of perfect health? Do you feel that with your imagination and God all things are possible? If you've been overweight or addicted or poor or victimized or unlucky or weak or anything at all that is incongruous with your perfect well-being, can you feel natural when you assume the feeling of your new ideal? Do you feel entitled to prosperity, health, happiness? If that feels unnatural, you must take on this task that Neville defines in this way, quote, "The essential feeling of naturalness can be achieved by persistently filling your consciousness with imagination, imagining yourself being what you want to be or having what you desire," unquote. I readily admit that there are some things that you might desire or wish for that will never feel natural to you. This came up in an interview I recently did on a telecast for a national television network. The interviewer asked, "Do you mean to tell me, Dr. Dyer, that if I do all that you recommend and follow the law of assumption to the letter, that I can become a linebacker for the New York Giants?" Now, this was a man about 5'7" tall, weighed maybe 150 pounds, a small man imagining himself in a very large man's physical position on a professional football team. I asked him, "Does it feel natural for you to be playing that position on the New York Giants?" His immediate response was, "No, not at all." And thus I reminded him that the time it takes your assumption to become reality is proportionate to the naturalness of being it. In my opinion, the interviewer would be doomed to failure with his assumption. However, I've seen professional basketball players who were 5'7" tall in a profession populated by giants, and not only could they play at an all-star level, but they could jump high enough to dunk a basketball. And when interviewed, they say without hesitation, "It feels natural to me, even though no one else can imagine it happening." This is relevant to you because it's actually rare to desire what simply feels unnatural. If being healthy, prosperous, happy, successful, strong, intelligent, and so on feel unnatural, then naturalness may be achieved by persistently using your imagination and your subjective attention to make this feeling stick. Throughout my life, it's felt natural to achieve prosperity, to heal my body, to teach self-reliance, and simply be happy. When I was a school teacher, most people said, and I still hear it to this day, you can't make any money as a school teacher. After all, it's a low-paying profession. Yet being prosperous and making money has always seemed just natural to me. When I was a school teacher, I taught extra courses at night school. I worked every summer, started a driver education business, gave public lectures for a fee on Monday nights, became a consultant on how to attract government grants, started a tutoring business, wrote books, took additional college credits to maximize my salary, and so on. Eventually, because it all felt so natural to me, I made teaching a very lucrative profession. At one time, I was restricted to a classroom as a teacher. Today, I'm still a teacher, only my classroom has now become the entire globe. Whatever it is that you want to manifest for yourself, do not be afraid to place into your imagination, assume the feeling of that wish fulfilled, and by all means make it feel as natural as apple pie. Move your highest dreams to a rightful, natural place in your imagination, and then do, as Ralph Waldo Emerson, the man whose portrait I stare at as I write, advised, "Build, therefore, your own world. As fast as you conform your life to the pure idea in your mind that will unfold its great proportions," unquote. It is my long-held strong belief and knowing that you are never given the power to dream without the equivalent power to manifest that dream and make it your physical reality. And this is also from Emerson to chew on. Quote, "Every spirit builds itself a house, and beyond its house a world, and beyond its world a heaven. Know then that the world exists for you. For you is the phenomenon perfect. What are we that only can we see?" Unquote.
The belief now that not only am I what I have and what I do, but I also become what other people think of me. So my reputation becomes something really, really important. And young people, we call this peer pressure. We call this the time in a young person's life when what other people think of them is really very important. So we're go around and we're taught, as young people, that it's important to get along. It's important to fit in. It's important that other people like you. It's important for you to realize that if you're not liked by your friends, you're not going to be very happy. You're not going to get the things that you want for yourself in your life. And so now we've taken this little beautiful creature who just showed up from a microscopic dot, and everything was handled for it. And it was doing nothing. It was just being done. And we've imposed 3 really harsh kinds of requirements on this person. Forget all of this. Forget this little bundle of perfection, that was created by God and is a piece of God. And let's set it over here and let's create a new one and make it believe that it has to accomplish, it has to accumulate, and it has to win the approval of other people. Now, what I have learned over the years is that if someone, I gave a seminar not too long ago, and someone wrote me a letter and said, the seminar did not live up to my expectations, okay, and was sort of complaining about whatever that was. And I got thinking about that, like there were 1,000 people at the seminar, and if I have 1,000 people who come to my seminar, all with expectations, how in the world am I going to deliver a seminar and meet everybody else's expectations out there? How is it possible to do that? You can't focus. You can't go out there in front of an audience. You can't perform. You can't do anything in that focused on whether you're going to be approved of or liked or accepted by all of the people that are out there. One of the things that you discover and you learn is that you have to become independent of the good opinion of other people. And as I told each one of my children as they were growing up, I'm not focused on, whether people like you or don't like you. You can't be responsible for that. In fact, you should forget about your reputation. It's a meaningless construct because it doesn't exist within you. You don't have a reputation that is going to be something that you can hang on to and use wherever you go. If you give a talk to 1,000 people, you got 1,000 reputations. And maybe they walk out and you'll ask them, what was it about, or did you like it at all? And you get 1,000 different responses. That's the way the world is. And the greatest political landslide in American history, I think it was Mondale and Reagan. I think that's what it was. It was they said it was just a disaster for Mondale because he lost. 45% of the people voted for Walter Mondale for president. 45%. So when you get half the people plus a few percentage points, you got a landslide. So you're looking for, landslides are half the people plus 1 or 2, and you're doing great, But all the people, everybody that you meet, trying to please everybody out there all the time. So it would seem to me that a person who is focused on who they are, rather than on what other people's expectations are, would be someone who wouldn't at all be concerned about what other people think of them, what their reputation is, and so on.
So you change from appearances to what I call quality thinking. Quality. What is the quality of my life? Rather than how does it appear to others? The quality versus appearance in your life means that you get that inner candle flame working in a way that gives you quality. Maslow, in defining self-actualizing, no-limit people, said they are independent of the good opinion of other people. Of the good opinion of other people. Independent of it. They're so busy advancing confidently, doing the things that make sense, and bringing success to changing their baby's diaper, and bringing success to weeding their garden, and bringing it to the job. They bring it on the airplane so that when they run into somebody who is rude to them, a stewardess that is rude, they don't see it as an attack on them. It's just where they are, and they send them love. Help them a little bit, They're kind. When somebody wants to get in on the freeway, and their one old temptation when they were on the 1 to the 6 side was to say, oh yeah, nobody's getting in front of me, I'm getting there first. It's like, they slow down a little bit. They don't have all that type A stuff of having to beat somebody else and having to defeat somebody. It's a new way of being.
I remember when someone in South Africa, a reporter asked me what I had to give up in order to be able to do what I've done in my life. I thought and thought and thought, and I said the only thing I've ever had to really give up is fitting in. It's feeling like I need to fit in, because it just isn't important to me to fit in, or to be seen as someone who goes along.
Just before I left for Australia a couple of weeks ago, I was on a show on CNN called Sonia Live, and Sonia and I went to school together. I mean, we've been friends forever, and we sat down to do the interview, and she said to me, "Wayne Dyer, it says here that that you haven't had a cold in 15 years. She said, now I've known you for a long time. She said, very frankly, I don't believe that. Well, that's Sonia. That's the way she works. That's fine. I love Sonia. And there was a time when if somebody said that to me on national television, I would say, well, wait a minute. I'm going to, now I have to defend myself. And you get into that position of, I'm going to call my doctor right now, or whatever, and start defending yourself. And when you get to be free, you don't need to defend yourself. You know. You just have this knowing. And I said, that's all right if you don't believe it. And I said, next question. There was no anxiety about it. There was no, I don't care if millions of people are watching. It doesn't make any difference. I'm not attached to any of that. It's like, I know. I know that I don't get those things, and it's fine if you don't believe it. You don't have to. I'm not living my life for that reason. It's like being self-referred rather than object-referred. And I can do the same thing even with criticism. There was, I now get letters, when I get letters of criticism, which you do, which everyone does, and I even tell my own children over and over again when they worry about their reputation, all that, I say, forget your reputation. It's not located in you. You go out and give a talk to 1,000 people, you leave, you have 1,000 reputations. What am I going to do, follow every one of you home? Did you like me? Did you think I was all right? What did you think? Some will think great, some not. Some going to think, well, he's got more hair than Bernie. Some going to say, well, maybe he shaved his head, You can't be consumed with that. I say the only thing I tell my children is forget about your reputation because it's not located in you, and if it's not located in you, let it go. Don't be attached to that. But you can be concerned with your character, with who you are, and just be that and get your life on purpose. Now, I must say to you, very frankly, that I wasn't always this way, particularly about criticism. Now, when I get letters of criticism from people, I send them a free book. Another one. Or flowers, or I don't find myself needing to defend myself. You begin to change your thinking from appearances and how things look and how other people view me, okay? Because every time you find yourself upset in life about anything that anyone else has said, what you're really saying is what you think of me is more important than what I think of me, all right? So you change from appearances to what I call quality thinking. Quality. What is the quality of my life? Rather than how does it appear to others? Now, do you tell yourself that because my friends don't like me, that means there's something wrong with me? No, that's what you have to learn. That another person's opinion is just that. It's their opinion, and that's all it is. Every time you are upset, or your children are upset, because of what somebody else says about them, including their peers, what you are really saying in that moment, and this is really important, what you're saying is, what you think of me is more important than what I think of myself. And you must never give anybody that kind of power and control over you, because they will always have it.
None of us are spiritually superior to any of the rest of us. We are all here on purpose, looking for a way to serve. See, we come in with nothing, and we're here, and we leave. And our life here is a parenthesis in eternity. It opens parentheses, it closes parentheses, and we go out with nothing. And this is an intelligent system that we're in. So in an intelligent system, when you come in with nothing and leave with nothing, the reason for being here has to have something to do with the opposite of getting. Because getting means trying to hang on to it. And that's an illusion. It's not real. It isn't real unless it never changes. And everything that you want to hang on to is. So that the only thing you can do with your life is give it away. And when you know that you're here not to get, but the opposite of that, to give. My mantra before I come out on a stage like this is, how may I serve? I started at 5 o'clock. And I said it until 20 to 7. Over and over and over again in my hotel room. How may I serve? 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 That's what we're here for.
If you understand this simple premise, that we become what we think about, as it says in the Torah, as it says in the Old Testament, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. We are the products of our thoughts. If you get that simple little thing that I started out with and that I hammer in every book I've written and every talk I've given, every tapes I've produced, we are the product of our thoughts. And our thoughts are very, very powerful. See, if your thoughts are on what you intend to manifest into your life, you can't do anything but do that. If your thoughts are on what is missing in your life, how much of your time do you spend focused on or thinking about what's missing in your life? The money that you don't have, the unhappiness the lack of happiness in your relationships that you would like to have, your health and the absence of the kind of health that you would like to have, the purity of your body, the fact that you've let it become overweight or you've let it become addicted to substances or nicotine or coffees, or you're not living the purified life. What is missing? If your thoughts are on what is missing, and what you think about is what expands, and there's something, Hawkins speaks about this brilliantly in The Power versus Force. If your thoughts are on what is missing, what you create is an attractor energy to have the universe respond back to you with whatever it is that you think about. This is how it works. It's the law of attraction. It's a very simple thing. Remember in that observation of Patanjali, he said, when you become inspired, dormant forces, faculties, and talents come alive. In other words, there are forces out there, outside of you. There's energy fields outside of you that are capable of joining with you and attracting into your life what you want. Carl Jung called it synchronicity. It's a consciousness in which when you put your thoughts on something, and every one of you have had this experience, the experience of thinking about someone and not being able to get your thought off of that person, and then going to the telephone and picking it up and saying, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. How many have had that kind of an experience in your life? As you look around and you think, well, and what do we attribute that to? We attribute that to what? Coincidence, don't we? We just say, well, that's just a coincidence. It's weird. I don't quite understand it. I'd like to be able to harness it, but it's just weird that it happens. But the word coincidence comes from, it's a mathematical term. In geometry, two angles that coincide, that's where the word comes from, coincide. Two angles that coincide are two angles that are said to fit together perfectly. That's what an angle that coincides with another angle is. Coincidental angles fit together perfectly. We have taken a term that means something that fits together perfectly, and we have assigned to it something that accidentally just happens to happen. I'd like to suggest to you that synchronicity, that is the ability to put your thoughts on what it is that you intend to create rather than on what is missing, is a way of attracting what is missing into your life. Now, you can continue to either attract what is missing into your life, or you can attract what you would like to intend into your life. It's just a matter of shifting the emphasis. If your thoughts are on, if you talk to other people about what is missing, if you use terms like, with my luck, this probably won't work out. I was changing planes in Dallas, flying from Fort Lauderdale to San Francisco. The woman sitting next to me, we came in, we had about 10 minutes to make our connection. And she stood up and she said, as we were gathering our belongings and everybody was trying to get off the plane, you've all had that experience, and trying to make the connection, she said, with my luck, I won't make my connection. And I thought to myself, why would she have evolved into a person who would project out into the universe, into the world of unlimited energy? Why would she project the idea that with her luck things won't work out? Where did that come from? Why would we have that kind of an energy concept? Because my response back to her was, well, with my luck, I will make my connection. I intend to make my connection. And she said, you can't make a plane that is pulling out stop from pulling out. I said, I absolutely can. Of course I can do that, and I intend to do that. Now, she's still in Dallas. That was like four weeks ago. Trying to get the hell to, her connection to San Francisco. But when you think about what is missing in your life and you talk to your friends about it and you put your attention and your energy on it in your telephone conversations and you go to sleep thinking about what is missing and you have this kind of an energy system going on for you, you will continue to have what you are thinking about show up in your life. And you'll see more and more and more of missingness continue to show up. You can't think about and put your energy on what is missing unless you want it to keep being that way in your life.